Hi guys, welcome to Interior Insights. I'm Jane and today we're going to look at a really cool apartment on Bali that I used to live at. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe. We're on Bali in Ubud on the most busy street, Jalan Monkey Forest. And today we are going to have a look at a loft in the sky. This loft is so incredible because the architects really managed to incorporate what they see on the outside and Bali's beauty into their design. So stay tuned and watch the video until the end. The cool thing about living on Bali is that you're always immersed and surrounded by an incredibly vibrant atmosphere and really rich colors, such as the bright blue sky or the intense green of nature. And because of this, the interiors always already have a really strong contrast. There is a possibility to use the nature and play with that contrast. For example, like what the architects did here, that they use like a rich orange coral color to complement the nature. Let's go upstairs. This is the hallway and it's sort of an art gallery. The walls are still clad in the coral orange tiles and there's just incredible art. And you can also see that everything basically is dark in this hallway and the only thing that is being illuminated from above is the art. It makes you feel like you live in a gallery. Let's go inside the apartment. As you come into the space, you are just overwhelmed by the brightness and by the spaciousness of the space. You can immediately see what the architects did and that they used the nature around Bali and made this the star of the design. You are just overwhelmed by the light and the view that you have. All the spaces are connected to each other because you have an open living room situation. What makes the space so unique is the incredible amount of glass that has been used. As you can see, one whole side of the apartment has been covered completely in glass. So you can really see the nature coming into the room and you are in constant interaction with the nature. The living room area has an open floor plan. So you have the kitchen, the black marble kitchen right there with the glass stove, and a little niche is tucking it in and zoning it, and the rest of the room is really just for the living room area. The sofa is black like the floor, which are both two elements which kind of ground you and give you a space of feeling safe and secure, even though you're in the third floor and you have such an incredible view. It feels kind of like you're living in a tree house, but you also feel kind of safe. The color palette of this apartment is held in kind of like a rich, neutral, monochromatic browns and grays, and also blacks. And I think that this is the reason why the architects did this is, like I said before, to contrast and complement the greens and the colorful surroundings of the outside and of the nature. And you can also see one thing that I noticed and I really like is the fact that the green from the leaves outside have been pulled into the apartment and into the design for accents. For example, here, as you can see, the blue and green vases, or there's a big painting up there and it also has these same green accents. And it's these small accents that really tie the design together. For the walls in the living area, the architects decided to use red brick, and to give them a more natural and rustic patina, they white and blackwash them so that they don't look new and red, but that they have this kind of ancient and used feel. And this is another thing that relates to the surroundings outside and to the view that you see, because when you look outside, you see on the one hand, you see the green and the nature, but on the other hand, you see all of the traditional Balinese houses. Because we're so high up, we just see the roofs, and they are also from red brick, and because of the weather conditions here, they have these rusty patinas, and the architects took this and pulled it into the design and translated it into a modern, more modern approach. And this is the result of it. The space is in general very rustic and raw. You can see, for example, still the metal beams from the construction that have been laid visible. And overall, it's not too complicated of a design. It basically consists on very straight angles and cubic shapes. The overall design language, like I said, is very square and with a lot of straight angles and lines. And one way that was used to break up these straight lines is this round composition here. And on the first view, from the first look of it, you see a round table accompanied by a round lamp and a big round mirror, which brings more light into the room. And this is a composition that really complements the room and it adds some dynamic because it's completely opposite from the rest of the design language. Like we saw before, the sofa table is like a Japanese handcrafted sofa table, and it's very square and has very straight structural angles, and also the sofa has square shapes. So this really breaks up the design and it's something unexpected, and that really elevates the space. My favorite accents around the space are all of the antique details that can be found if you look a little bit closer. For example, these chairs that have been handcrafted and are antique whitewashed chairs. I don't know the period that they are from, but they were locally sourced and somebody spent years or months making them, and I think you can really see it, and the work really paid off. Or another thing that I really enjoy, makes the space really interesting and unique, is the fact that instead of normal doors, the architects decided to use Balinese doors. And these are handcrafted, so some grandfather was just sitting there for, I don't know, a few months and just carved every flower out bit by bit. And they are actually entryway doors, but, well, the designers decided to put them inside the house, even though they are actually usually not used for the inside. Also here we can see there's traditional Balinese handcrafting, and I think it's really nice. And now let's go upstairs. A second element that really breaks up the straight and angular dynamics of the space is not only the round composition up here, but also the second diagonal line of the stairway. And it was kept straight and very minimal to give it even more of a weight and more of an importance. And it also really divides the space from downstairs and upstairs. Also very central to the design is this big oversized painting that is hanging really high. And it's cool because this is a loft. You have the space of like a double 2-story wall, and you have the space to hang a painting like this. And as we said before, it pulls in the greens and the blues from the outside, and it also is a real splash of color in this monochromatic design. Let's go upstairs to the master bedroom. This is the master bedroom. Because it's a loft, there aren't really any doors used in the space, so you can see it's like an open space that is divided by walls. This is the view that you get to wake up with, and the palm trees are always moving, or if it's raining you can see the rain. Sometimes there's monkeys playing out there, so you really get to experience the nature and your surroundings, and you're in constant dialogue with it. You're not just in an enclosed space, but even though this is a closed space, you're constantly in touch with nature. The wall behind me is the one that's separating the bedroom from the master bathroom, and it's covered in strong black and white geometrical patterns. The pattern of this wall is repeated again at the back, and it gives it more of a visual presence, and you can really see that this is a space separate from the bedroom, even though it's open, technically. In the bedroom here we have an inbuilt bed, very low on the floor. The bed is accompanied by 2 bedside tables, which are antique Balinese lamps, as well as the big chandelier, which is also an antique chandelier. At night, these lamps give off a very warm and magical atmosphere, and you feel really at home. Another cool thing about this bedroom is that you wake up and you look right at the view. So if you're lucky and you wake up, I don't know, at 6 a.m. or when the sun rises, you get to actually wake up with the sunrise and have those first beams of the day shine into your face, and it's really magical. And this is the bathroom. The color palette is more neutral than the rest of the apartment. You have white Carrara marble, which is like a warm, creamy beige marble, and you have the strong black and white patterns. And another special feature, or you could say traditional feature of this bathroom, is the round mirror. That is, the frame of the mirror is made from, I think, chicken feathers. Yeah. I don't know, not everybody will love it, but I think it's very unique, so it's quite cool. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe, and see you next week.